becoming president, it looked like we were going to war with North Korea, and now we have a lot of progress.
President Trump touting his relationship with North Korea as Kim Jong-un now vows he'll dismantle a key nuclear site. This as North and South Korea have agreed to an era of no war, and the two nations plan to submit a combined bid for the 2032 Summer Olympics, among other unifying factors. Here now to discuss, Rebecca Grant, former Secretary of the Air Force, and Peter Brookes, the Heritage Foundation National Security Affairs Fellow. Rebecca, I know we've talked about this over and over again, the idea of being cautiously optimistic, the long history of broken promises by North Korea, but we are coming up on a one-year anniversary soon of the last missile test, and there have been more and more of these sort of overtures. Where do you think we are?
We're in a good place, so credit to President Moon. He put some points on the board. And Charles, I see this as a legit step. It goes beyond what we saw in Singapore. And they have a handful of these missile test sites, but this one is important because this is the site that they discussed shutting down during the Singapore summit. So this is political goodwill, and it's also a step towards denuking. It's good. Right,
and it's not imploding on itself, right? So it's not necessarily dilapidated and falling apart. Peter, critics are saying, no, in return, North Korea is asking a lot of America that simply cannot be given, so that maybe this is just a disingenuous olive branch at best.
Well, they breathed life back into the talks, Charles. Remember, the talks were pretty much stalled. Tensions have been reduced, but there's still a lot of work to do in moving towards denuclearization. And North Korea has talked about getting rid of one of their major nuclear sites, a Russian-built reactor at Yongbyon. But they want reciprocal steps by the United States, and we're not exactly sure what that means. Does that mean U.S. troops off the peninsula? Does that mean that we reduce our nuclear holdings? There's all sorts of issues out there, a lot of devil in the details, and we got to see these words turn into deeds. So I'm still deeply skeptical. I want to be cautiously optimistic. We're going to have a bunch of talks coming up. Secretary Pompeo will meet with his counterpart in New York around the UN General Assembly. We have a special envoy, Steve Biegun, who has been traveling to the region. There's talks of him meeting with North Korean counterparts. So we're talking again, which I think is good, but there's still a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done to get to the place where we want to be.
You know, Rebecca, there seems, at least looking from afar, to be a genuine bromance, though, between the presidents of North and South Korea. And it seems that Kim Jong-un is somewhat seduced by the things that he's seeing outside of his country. Sure, he's wealthy within his country, but it's nowhere near the 20th century. Could that play a role, or is it playing a role?
Yes, it is, because as Kim Jong-un starts to look at these economic overtures, he sees the huge upside of denuking. Kim also knows that his personal political future is still very much at stake. The sanctions are holding, military pressure is still on. So if he wants to stay in power and prosper, denuking is the answer. And I think it's a three-way bromance. It's President Moon, President Trump, and Kim, and those are the three who will make this happen if it does.
All right, we got to leave it there. Thank you very much. And again, we always are cautiously optimistic when it comes to this, but really, it has been remarkable. President Trump is right. I think that doomsday clock was like a minute away from midnight, and we've done much better. Here's Lou.
Good evening, everybody. Our top stories: radical